the oldest mountains in the world, but to coal companies, these ancient Appalachians are a barrier to progress. It's called mountaintop removal. It's a particularly aggressive form of mining, but the concept is simple.
In underground mining, you remove the mineral from the earth, and in mountaintop removal mining, you remove the earth from the mineral.
The technique of repeatedly blasting and scouring the mountains was developed in West Virginia, and the coal industry here says it's the only economically viable future for coal. But for the people who live here, in the dead-end valleys they call hollows, it could mean no future at all.
Yeah, I'm proud to be a coal miner's daughter.
The rest of America calls these people, mockingly, hillbillies.
The well where I drew water.
Now West Virginia's hillbillies are fighting back.
It's time that we all stand up together for our people in southern West Virginia and for our mountains and say enough is enough from the coal companies. And I'll tell you what, our politicians are bought and sold.
At first, this rally appears to be a simple conflict between miners and environmentalists.
Why can't they restore the land? That creates jobs.
Once the land was, if you'd come to West Virginia...
Are you telling me you can't restore the land?
I'm saying you can.
Well, why don't we spend our money doing that?
It's done every day.
But what's extraordinary about the people opposing these miners is that almost all of them are from coal mining families.
What we're protesting here today is about the way the coal's taken out and the method that's been used. To destroy your own backyard where you have to live and work at, I don't think that's a justified thing.
I look at being called a hillbilly as a prideful thing because I am. The only thing I ain't is stupid.
Larry Gibson left school in the 3rd grade, but that hasn't stopped him confronting the most powerful industry in the state.
They want to take all these mountains down through here. And they can't do it with the people here.
Life here has been one of submission to coal for 150 years, and the small state of West Virginia remains the 2nd largest coal producer in America. Today, Larry is taking me to Caford Mountain, where his coal mining family settled in the early part of last century.
This has been here since about 1830.
All that's left now is his family cemetery. It's an island in the middle of a mountaintop mine.
The good Lord put these mountains here. Only the good Lord should have that right to take them.
Larry's campaign against mining began too late to preserve his own mountain. He saved what he could, but he couldn't stop the mining on the land the company already owned.
It's like this mountain right here, right in front of you where a coal seam is, right there where a truck is over there.
Yeah.
That mountain there used to be 3 times higher than what it is now. This is what the great United States of America is letting happen to their own people and their own land. These are the natural jewels of West Virginia.
But Ben Green, who's been in this industry for over 30 years, says he can't understand what people are complaining about.
If there's any valid explanation, it's probably maybe the size of some of the operations today. There's no doubt about the fact that they're larger, maybe a little more massive, far more capital investment, but the technique of mountaintop removal is at least 30 years old.
The technique may not be new, but mountaintop removal on this scale has only been possible in the last decade. With the development of 20-storey high mountain crushing machines called draglines. But the increase in the practice in the 1990s is also due, incredibly, to improved environmental standards. When the United States passed its Clean Air Act 8 years ago, demand for West Virginia's clean-burning, low-sulphur coal soared. and the mountaintops were suddenly worth billions of dollars a year.
No, it's not just a piece of land or just a graveyard. It's my heritage. If I sit real quiet, I can almost hear the people.
Larry Gibson doesn't dispute the economic benefits of mining here, but he does question whether coal has had too much influence over the state's lawmakers.
Mountain people never did get an equal education, and they can do this, and it's how they get by with it.
I think it would be unfair to characterize the state's political system to be controlled by coal.
Michael Miano protests, but he's also one of the key targets of this criticism. You don't see a conflict of interest with a matter of months ago having been a coal executive and now heading up the Department of the Environment?
I think that there was the potential question that people would have. They might say that, well, here comes another coal guy, and if he's a coal guy, he can't be a good guy. But I have attempted to demonstrate through my actions and activities that I am here to enforce the law of the state and to protect the environment, restore the environment, and do what is right for the citizens of the state of West Virginia.
We use them for baking.
What do you make out of those?
Black walnut cake.
Sibby Weekly has lived in this hollow of Pigeon Roost all her life, and it's her version of paradise.
We use it in peanut butter fudge candy.
You don't want to touch them with your hand?
No, you don't want to touch them with your hand.
She met her husband here, she raised her children here, and she knows where to find the best apples and walnuts for Sunday dinner with her grandchildren.
Okay, we'll wash them, and we will kill them, and we will cook them. No, you're going to do the same thing again. Pick it up by the legs. I got this.
But coal mining is encroaching on Sibby and James Weekly's way of life. Above them, a mountaintop mine blasts day and night.
Hey, you guys come in and get washed up. Time to eat.
Now that mine wants to extend its mining permit right into this hollow. It's offered to buy the Weeklies out, but these mountain folk are proving hard to shift.
Money can't buy my memories of my kids, footsteps, my grandpa, my grandchildren.
What's yes?
The footsteps that I've left in this hollow. Money can't buy that. Money can't buy that.
How about you spitting it out?
Hey.
It's an argument that's been impossible to get around, no matter how high the offer has climbed.
The only way they'll get me out of Pigeon Roost Holler and my wife is to shove us out with a bulldozer. Period.
But even if they stay, the mine could still come to within 300 feet of the Weekly's home. In order to show me just what that would do to his life here, James took me fishing in his hollow.
Ah!
This is big.
Really?
Oh.
Really that? What's this? Well,
Do you want to hold your fish that you caught?
No.
Huh?
I'll look at him. Yep, well, you're a big fish.
So they're going to fill in this valley we're standing in?
Yes, ma'am. If they get the 3,200 acre permit, this valley right here where we're standing will be filled in with these mountaintops from each side.
To try to prevent this, the Weeklies are taking up the fight on another, for them, unfamiliar front. Along with other locals, they're bringing a lawsuit to stop the state government from issuing the permit to extend the mine.
As you can hear the creek run out here, ma'am, listen how beautiful it is.
It's a suit James trustingly believes he will win, if only he can make people understand how special his home is.
If they issue his permit, we have no home. That's the reason I asked these people to reach really down into their hearts, put themselves in their position, see if they will want their home took from them the way the coal company wants them to take ours. It's not fair. It's not fair. Poppy loves you. Come back and see Poppy.
Okay.
Give me a kiss, my shit.
Poppy loves you.
Love ya.
Come back and see Papa.
You're trying to be to a car.
I love you.
Bye, babies.
Yeah, I'll take you to the car.
From this perspective, it looks like the mountain people are fighting a losing battle. It's early morning in Blair, the town closest to the Weekly's Hollow, and as families are getting ready for work, looming over them is one of the new generation of monster machines mining closer and closer to their homes. Charles Bartram stands outside his home of 35 years, watching and waiting.
All them big storms that come through that way, they've cut that mountain down till they hit right in here. And they're going on down with it. There's another seam of coal under where they're working there now. They'll take it all.
And as he watches progress on the mountain, this 80-year-old ex-miner is also pondering an offer to sell his home to the mining company.
They want to get rid of all of us. There's a big seam of coal down under here they're going to get too. A 7-foot seam of coal down under here, and they want to get us out of here.
Do you think they will?
Oh yeah, they'll get everybody. They'll get them because they know there's no future for them here.
Already there are signs of a community disintegrating. Homes are abandoned, one of the 2 schools has closed, business has slowed to a halt at the barber shop.
And that's the ones we can name, and we probably missed some of that. I don't know.
Here the main activity is keeping tabs on the changes in the town.
I got a list here, and we've been counting how many families have moved out, and we got about 136 that we can name that they have bought out and they've gone. And I think there's less than 80 families now. There's less than 70 here now, so we're going to disappear, we think.
But there are West Virginians who see benefits in the changes brought by mining.
This is reclaimed land, then?
This is reclaimed land. This area was mined about 8 years ago by Princess Beverly. And as you can see, the grasses are starting to come back real.
The mining company operating above Blair refused to let us on site.
This is what I wanted you to see. This is not virgin areas that we're going to be mining.
But Mike Snelling from this privately owned company did show us around and stressed that much of the land mined here has already been badly damaged by decades of underground mining.
So what we do is we go into these areas. Yes, we do mountaintop mining, but we put them back. We supply jobs for the people, so we think we're doing really an improvement to the environment.
Mike says it's impossible to put the mountains back as steep as they were, but mining companies are not alone in seeing advantages in this. Just a reminder that this is the state's chief environmental defender.
Now, you know, that some would say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If I'm there with a side of a mountain as steep as a cow's face, the value, it would be low. But when you can flatten that area so that you can build something on it, so that you can grow something on it, so that you can harvest from it, then the value increases significantly.
None of this has swayed Larry Gibson as he continues on his mission to rally the community, give mountain people support and listen to their stories.
Well, I heard a blast and there was rocks flying, and I had my cat out here.
And the community complaints have prompted the mining industry to concede there have been at least some grounds for concern.
And I thought, well, Lord of mercy, and looked around, and he's on this hill here, rocks and stuff flying.
Yes, you know, we've had fly rock incidents in which rock have come off of a shot that's going wrong. We've had water quality, dust, what I call the nuisance kinds of activity that, of course, have impacted people.
But there are some consequences of mountaintop removal that can't be dismissed as mere nuisance issues. One of those, the creation of valley fills, is now not only a concern for the communities, but for the industry itself, precisely because it's integral to the mining process. Once the coal is removed, this is where the top of the mountain ends up. The unwanted rock and rubble is dumped over the edge of the mountain into the valley below, filling in where streams once ran and often people once lived. Already, 469 miles of West Virginia's streams have been buried like this, and the state government has approved it without any scientific analysis of its long-term impact.
The state, when they permit these sites, have only looked at one site at a time. They're not looking at the cumulative impacts. And the 469 miles of streams that are already buried, we don't know in the long run what kind of impact that's going to have.
And answers are now being sought by the federal authorities.
Mountaintop removal!
It's become so politically uncomfortable for the state governor that he set up a task force to examine the issue.
Why are we out here? Because we're not allowed on the panel inside. Citizens are not on the task force.
But these people don't have confidence in the task force.
How are current laws regarding blasting enforced?
And Michael Miano seems to regard it as unnecessary.
There is plenty of history and background to suggest that there is no significant impact on the environment.
Well, you're hardly going to know about any environmental problems if you haven't done any scientific study.
And so then we can use that argument, and we can be back in a cave deciding whether we should chip out a wheel or not. I'm here to tell you that if there was a significant concern with this type of mining, that it would not be allowed.
But the federal environment agencies beg to differ, and they're now holding up state mining permits until they get some answers on the long-term impact of West Virginia's valley fills, a development that has the mining industry decidedly testy.
It's getting real critical as to whether they have to lay off miners. All of that has been brought about by the controversy, if you want to call it that, with the people in the southern part of the state, particularly the community of Blair.
James Weekly sits overlooking his hollow at Blair.
I've been going back to that rock ever since I was a little boy. That makes me think of the good times. Now, it hurts to watch and see what is in there.
He doesn't yet know if his home will be spared, but West Virginia's hillbillies can at least claim to have made the coal companies take notice.